In the sterile hum of St. Aloysius Memorial Hospital, where fluorescent lights cast a perpetual pallor over weary souls, Isabella Bella Thorne glided through the corridors like a whisper of forgotten grace. At 29, she was the epitome of quiet elegance, porcelain skin framed by chestnut waves that fell like autumn silk to her shoulders, sapphire eyes that held the depth of midnight seas, and a smile that bloomed rare, like dawn after endless night. To the world, she was Nurse Thorne, the one who held trembling hands during midnight fevers, who sang soft lullabies to orphaned infants, her scrubs a shield against the chaos of life's fragile edge. But beneath the starched fabric lay a labyrinth of secrets. Isabella was the veiled architect of Thorne Global, a pharmaceutical empire spanning continents, birthed from her late father's ashes and her own unyielding genius. Billions whispered in boardrooms she never entered, her identity cloaked in shadows to honor the vow she'd made at his bedside. Heal the world unseen, let compassion eclipse crowns. Damien Hale was a foil in every way, a storm cloud in tailored Armani, 34, and forged in the fires of corporate conquest. With chiseled features like marble hewn by ambition, raven hair slicked back in defiant precision, and emerald eyes that pierced like daggers, he commanded boardrooms and bedrooms with equal disdain. CEO of Hale Dynamics, a rival biotech behemoth, Damien thrived on dominance, his tongue a whip that lashed out at weakness. Orphaned by scandal, he'd armored his heart in sarcasm and success, convinced vulnerability was the currency of fools. Hospitals were mere pit stops for his jet-set life, places to mend superficial wounds before the next acquisition. Their collision ignited on a rain-lashed Tuesday in the oncology wing. Damien's mother, Vivian, lay frail in room 407, her body a battlefield against the cancer that had crept like ivy through her veins. He stormed in, barking orders at the night shift, his voice echoing off linoleum like thunder. Isabella, mid-shift, entered with Vivian's chart, her steps measured, her demeanor a balm. "Mr. Hale, your mother's responding well to the new trial protocol," she said softly, her voice a melody amid the beeps of monitors. He barely glanced up from his phone, fingers flying through emails. "Protocol? Spare me the jargon, nurse. Just make her better. Money's no object, name your price." His tone dripped condescension, eyes flicking over her like she was a smudge on his pristine world. Isabella paused, chart in hand, her pulse steady as ancient oaks. "Healing isn't a transaction, sir. It's time, touch, trust." She adjusted Vivian's fore with featherlight care, humming a fragment of an old folk tune that made the woman's eyelids flutter in peace. Damien snorted, leaning against the doorframe. "Trust? From a glorified candy striper in polyester? Please. If you had half a brain, you'd be curing cancer, not playing Florence Nightingale." The words landed like shards of glass, slicing through the air. Vivian stirred, murmuring protest, but Damien waved it off, storming out to conquer another call. Nurses whispered in the hall, "Another rich prick," they sighed, but Isabella? She simply exhaled, her sapphire gaze steady. Humiliation was an old acquaintance. Empires were built on thicker skins. Days bled into weeks. Damien returned sporadically, his barbs sharpening with Vivian's decline. He'd catch Isabella at Vivian's bedside, reading poetry or braiding the old woman's silver hair, and unleash, wasting time on fairy tales? No wonder this place runs like a charity case. Once, overhearing her soothe a panicking patient with stories of starlit meadows, he sneered, "Save the bedtime stories for kids, nurse. Grown-ups need results, not delusions." Each arrow found its mark, yet Isabella deflected with grace, her responses laced with quiet wisdom that left him unsettled, like an itch he couldn't scratch. Why did her eyes unsettle him? Why did her touch on Vivian's brow stir echoes of a gentleness he'd buried deep? The unraveling came on a frost-kissed dawn in December, as snow veiled the city in hush. Vivian slipped away at 4:17 a.m., her hand in Isabella's, a final smile curving her lips at the lullaby that bridged worlds. Damien arrived too late, the room empty save for a single white rose on the pillow, Isabella's token. Fury cracked his facade. He cornered the charge nurse. "Where's Thorne? She was supposed to be here. My mother deserved better than some underpaid dreamer." The nurse's eyes widened, pity mingling with awe. "Mr. Hale, Nurse Thorne isn't just a nurse. She's Isabella Thorne, of Thorne Global. The protocol saving your mother? Her design. She funds half this wing anonymously." The world tilted. Damien staggered to the rooftop garden, rain mingling with the salt of his tears he hadn't shed since boyhood. Thorne Global, the shadow giant whose patents had thwarted his every merger, whose ethical firewalls mocked his cutthroat tactics. The woman he'd eviscerated, the one whose serenity had haunted his sleepless nights, held the reins of an empire vaster than his own. Not a simple nurse, a sovereign in disguise, choosing scrubs over scepters to touch the lives her fortune couldn't reach. He found her in the chapel, knees bent in silent vigil, candlelight gilding her like a seraph. "Isabella," he whispered, voice raw as winter wind. She rose, unflinching, her gaze a mirror to his fractured soul. You're her. The one who outmaneuvered me at every turn. And God, I humiliated you. For what? To feel tall in my own shallowness." She stepped closer, her hand, calloused from 4 lines, steady as steel, brushing his cheek. "Humiliation. Damien, I've worn worse crowns. My father built thorn on pills that prolonged life but poisoned spirits. I tore it down and rebuilt it for healing, not profit. I nurse because here, I'm not a name on a ledger. I'm hands that hold, eyes that see." He sank to the pew, confessions spilling like confessions in confessional. The orphan's rage, the boardroom isolation, the fear that power was all he'd ever wield. "You saw through me from the start. Why stay silent? You could have crushed me." A soft laugh, like bells in fog. "Because empires crumble under vengeance, Damien. But hearts, they mend with mercy." She shared her scars then, the boardroom betrayals, the lover who sought her vaults not her soul, the night she'd wept alone in penthouses colder than this chapel. In her vulnerability, he glimpsed his own, 2 titans, armored in isolation, yearning for the warmth of true sight. Redemption wove slow, like threads in a loom. Damien shuddered Hale Dynamics' predatory arms, channeling billions into collaborative cures under Thorne's ethical banner. He volunteered in the wards, his once sharp tongue now a storyteller's, weaving tales for wide-eyed patients. Isabella taught him the piano in hidden alcoves, her fingers guiding his over keys that unlocked symphonies within. Love unfurled not in grand unveilings, but in stolen sunrises, her head on his shoulder as they watched the city awaken, his whisper against her temple, "You're my empire now." Their union, announced not in headlines but in a quiet vow by Vivian's grave, rippled outward. Thornhale Therapeutics rose, a phoenix of compassion, funding wings worldwide where nurses like Isabella could heal without hiding. Videos of their story, leaked not by intent but by grateful hearts, touched millions. The mogul humbled, the nurse enthroned, proving that true power lies not in thrones, but in the courage to kneel. In the end, Damien learned what Isabella had always known. Empires of stone fade, but those of silk, woven from empathy's loom, endure, soft yet unbreakable, binding souls across the chasm of pride. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up sign, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us. Heavy Blackheart Hash.